जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय
I'll chat one verse and maybe we can take a little more time. The devotees can chant another two verses. Veda vinashinam nityam
वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं
ya enam majamavyayam
य एनं अजमव्ययं
katham sa purushah partha
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
घातयति हन्तिकम्
घातयति हन्तिकम्
वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं
वेदा विनाशिनं नित्यं
य एनम् अजमव्ययम्
य एनं अजमव्ययं
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं
वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं
य एनमजमव्ययम्
यैनमजमव्ययम्
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
कं घातयति हन्तिकम्
गङ्गादयति हन्तिकम्
Everybody wants to chant the next verse, 22nd. Can chant one more time.
शरीराणि विहाय जीवानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि
नैनं चिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि
नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः अचेद्योऽयं वधायोऽयम्
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
नित्या सर्वगतास्थाणुं
नित्यः सर्वगतस्थानो
अचलोऽयं सनातनः
अचलोऽयं सनातनः
Chant one more verse. Please, everyone needs to chant. One more prayer.
Okay.
अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि
So I'll just read the translation for the 5 verses and then we can discuss. So verse 21. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unknown and immutable, kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned with fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can neither be burned, nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not pray for God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurundaritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavesham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sankajatam Sankamarupanakamvimantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Santam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sarvam Harita Shri Vishakhamitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Hari Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurakrishna Namaha Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 this chapter, which is titled Contents of the Gita Summarized, so Krishna is presenting a summary study of the Bhagavad Gita. In the sense, he summarized the whole contents of the Gita in one chapter, and he will mention what are the key things he will discuss in detail in the rest of the chapters. So there are essentially 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita, which I'm sure you have heard in the previous discussions. Can anyone say what are the 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita? Yes, a little louder. Calmness. Paramatma. Purusha. And one more. Okay. These are 5 topics. Jiva means the soul. Paramatma or Purusha means the super soul, that is God. Or Bhagavan. Prakriti is the material nature. Kala is the time. And karma is our activities. So these are the 5 topics which are discussed in detail in Bhagavad Gita. And interestingly, Prabhupada explains that out of these 5 things, 4 are eternal. Either in manifested state or unmanifested state, the Prakriti or material nature is eternal. Right? Everything is manifested now. But once the creation finishes, everything goes back into unmanifested state. But material nature is still there. It is like the conservation of energy. Right? Energy is never lost. It is either manifest or unmanifest. Similarly, time is also eternal. Because time is a form of Krishna. So it is eternal. The living entity and Bhagavan are both eternal. Because that is what Krishna is explaining in detail in this chapter. The constitution of the living entity. What is the difference between body and what is the difference between essentially matter and spirit? How do we analyze what is matter, what is spirit? What are the attributes or qualities of matter and spirit? So spirit is considered. Are you not able to hear me? The quality of spirit is eternal, and Krishna is explaining in these verses, so that we can understand what is the spiritual quality versus what is the material quality. The 5th topic, karma. That's the only thing which is not eternal, and we are really fortunate and grateful to Krishna that karma is not eternal. Which means at any point of time, if you want, we can change the quality for karma. And that is the only way we can actually stop this process of the soul taking on material bodies one after the other. In the previous verses, you must have seen the famous verse where Krishna says that, as a living entity passes from childhood to youth to adult, and then finally old age and passes on. The body also similarly, the soul also changes bodies one after the other. So in this very life that we have had, or we are having right now, we have actually changed bodies so many times. Where was the body when we were born? That body is gone. We have changed, we have gone to a different body. Now we are in different bodies. As we age, our bodies are actually constantly changing. We don't realize it. It is imperceptible. We cannot perceive it, but it is happening. So death is just another change of the body. That's all. At the point of death, we just change this body and move to another body. But this process continues because of our activities, our karma. But there is a way to stop this process of continuously taking on different bodies. And that is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. How to stop this process of birth and death. Birth means death, will happen definitely. But all this birth and death is related to the material body, not the soul, not the jiva. So first Krishna is telling us, please understand what is your constitutional position. You are not this body. Arjuna was in a state of lamentation. When he saw the battlefield, he had to fight all his relatives, his grandfathers, his guru, teachers and everyone else. So he was in a state of bewilderment and illusion. Why? Because he was seeing everyone in relation to his body. Not as a soul, Atma. Right? He could not see. Because when we are in this body, we cannot see the vision. We don't have a clear vision of that I am the soul and everybody else is also a soul. We are constantly under the cover or the illusion of material body. We can only see the material bodies. We don't see the soul. And because of that, all our relationships, everything is based on the material body. And we know that the material body is temporary. It's not going to last long. But everything has a start date and expiry date in this material world. When we buy something from the supermarket, it has got a manufacturing date and expiry date. Same way, our body also has a date of birth and date of death. It is going to be there. We don't know when it's going to happen, but it's certainly there. So, if our relationship are based on the body platform, naturally there will be lamentation and happiness, depending on whether the other body is there or not. Okay? So this constant flux which is happening in relationships based on material platform. Instead, if you transfer this attachment to a spiritual platform and conceive everybody, including us and everybody else, as soul, in relation to the super soul, not independent souls, but all of us are connected to the super soul, that is Paramatma or Krishna. That relationship is eternal because we are all eternal. Krishna is eternal, or the super soul is eternal. So that relationship is also eternal. Hence, there will not be any question of this flux in a relationship. It will always remain at the same level. In fact, in the spiritual world, there is only increase in the activities, increase in the bliss and happiness. It only constantly increases. There is no decline in the happiness of bliss. We have not experienced that, but based on the scriptures and based on what our acharyas have told us, that is the stage we are aspiring to achieve. Right now we are on this material platform, but the more and more we practice, more and more we cultivate this consciousness, then gradually, by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of Acharya Srila Prabhupada, we will get slowly, gradually, we progress and achieve that state of consciousness. That is what we are all aspiring, and that is the only solution for us to come out of this dualities of good, bad, black, white, all these dualities that we face in life. I mean, constantly we are battling with these dualities. Right? There is, in the same day, sometimes there are happy moments, sometimes there are sad moments. This constantly happens to us all day, throughout our life. Only way to come out of this is to still the spiritual platform, but there is no duality. And that's what the pure devotees show us by their example. In Bhagavatam and all the scriptures, when the devotees are facing this situation, we learn from that how they face the situation, how they handle the situation. Any difficulties, like Pandavas, for example. Bhagavad Gita is spoken on the battlefield, that Arjuna and all the Pandavas are there. Pandavas went through so many difficulties in their life. So many, right from the time they were born till the time the battle happened, they had to face so many difficulties. Isn't it? So many challenges, not ordinary challenges, so many challenges. Yet, through all of these challenges, they remain fixed in the remembrance of Krishna. They never diverted themselves, they never went away from the path of devotion service. That is the greatest challenge for us. When there are happy moments, it's very easy to be Krishna conscious. But when there are difficult times, very difficult to maintain our faith and hold on to the older state of Krishna. But in this material world, unfortunately, there will be more moments of miseries than happiness. And falsely, Prabhupada explains that falsely we think when there is an absence of misery for some time, we take that to be happiness. When for some time there is no misery, we think, oh, now things are okay, everything is fine. Actually, nothing is fine. It is just that the miseries have reduced a little bit. But there will always be time. It's like the waves on the sea, they're constantly coming. The miseries are constantly coming. But the more we practice devotional service, the more we become immune to these miseries. There's a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam which is prayed by Lord Brahma. It says, Tattenu kampasu samikshamana Munjana evatma kritam vipakam Ritva vakuddhir viradam namaste Munjita yomukti padesa dharima. Which means the devotee of Lord Brahma is praying that a devotee who at times of difficulties blames himself and not the situation or anybody else. What do we do whenever there are difficult situations? The first thing is we blame somebody, either the situation or somebody else. Because the way we are designed, we can only see others, we don't see ourselves. Right? Only when we stand in front of the mirror, we can see ourselves. But most of the time, we are seeing the outside world, other people. So the first thing that we do is we blame situation, somebody who's, and most likely we blame our family members because they are closer to us, they are with us all the time, and we always take them for granted. First thing we blame is our family. Or somebody whom we can afford to blame. We know that there won't be any counteraction from that person. Like parents, sometimes old people who are there at home, we blame them because of you happened, because of this. We never blame ourselves. But the devotee here prays that we are the cause of our own miseries. It is because of our past misdeeds which we have forgotten, which we don't know. We don't know what we've done in the past life for which we're suffering the results now. So the only way to tolerate any situation is to, when we blame ourselves, there ends the matter. Isn't it? There's no question of any counteraction. If you know that you are the cause of your own miseries, why would you blame anybody else? Why would you counteract? Why would you waste your time? You accept it. And that is what a devotee has to learn. A devotee has to learn to accept and tolerate that the reason for his misery is himself. And that is what a devotee does. He does not waste his time blaming others, does not waste his time in lamentation, because there is no use in lamenting. Whatever is done has been done, and you are facing the results. But Krishna is so kind. He is so kind that a devotee who is practicing like this, Krishna reduces the degree of misery to a tolerable level, according to the tolerance level of each devotee, and which he knows best. So he reduces it to such a level that they are able to tolerate it. So that's one side. And when there are good things happening, he does not take credit for himself. That I have done this. It's because of me that I achieved this. He gives the credit to Krishna. That thank you, Krishna, by your mercy I got this or achieved this. A devotee who lives like this in his life is sure to go back to Krishna. That verse guarantees, Lord Brahma guarantees, that a devotee who lives like this, for him the kingdom of Godhead is like a father who passes on the property to his son after his death. This devotee inherits the kingdom of Godhead. It has become his right. It's become his right. It has become his right to inherit the property of his father, that is Supreme Father Krishna. That is all we have to do. It is very difficult. It's not easy. I mean, it's not at all easy. I mean, very easy to say, but to put it into practice is not easy. But it is possible if we have an association where we can take encouragement from each other, we can learn from each other, we can take inspiration from each other. And that is the only way we can practice, try to practice this while living in this world. And that's the only way, Gurus and Maharajis, for us to really, otherwise these miseries and these difficulties are not going to stop. We should not be in the illusion that because we are practicing bhakti, everything will stop, all the difficulties will stop happening. No, difficulties will keep coming. That is because of whatever we have done in the past. We have to face the results of that. No choice. It's like you have taken a gun and you have shot the bullet. You have a choice till you shoot. Once you have shot, the bullet has to hit the target. No choice. It has to hit the target. So whatever we have done, we have to face the reactions. But by performing bhakti, we can reduce the extent of the reactions that can come. That is why Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraj. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami moksha. So when he says that, what he means that is that whatever you have done, it's okay. Now you have surrendered to me, I will take care of you. I will protect you from all reactions. This is how he protects. We should not misunderstand this instruction of Krishna to mean that everything will be a smooth sailing for us. What it means is that he gives us enough intelligence and tolerance to go through the difficulties without forgetting Krishna. Most important thing. In those difficulties also we should not forget Krishna. That is the greatest lesson that we have to learn from the examples of all these devotees. So the more we get into the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita will give you a preliminary philosophy of Krishna speaking. But when we get into Bhagavatam, it becomes more and more relatable. Because we can actually see practical experience of devotees. How devotees face situations, how they dealt with the situation. We have good examples as well as bad examples. Because we need to know what are the do's and what are the don'ts. Right? Both the things need to be taught to us. So there are bad examples, there are good examples. But from either of these examples or both of the examples, we learn how to live in this world so that we can always remember Krishna. And most importantly, not get caught up in these reactions, counteractions, reactions. Because the more we counteract, the more we react, the more we are getting entangled in this process of birth and death. We're not going to get out of this. The more we are actually ordering newer and newer material bodies for us. We're shopping for more and more bodies. The more we counteract, the more we react. It's It is a very practical thing, but it takes time. We have to be patient with ourselves, be patient with others. But more importantly, we have to focus on our own practice, our own sadhana. Now we had a nice party here. That's why deity worship at home is very important, because we are fixed then. There are deities at home, we know that we have to wake them up, we have to offer them something, we have to perform aarti, we have to put them to rest. So we are regulated in our activities, isn't it? That's why deities Prabhupada insisted that we should have deity worship, but we should simplify it, not complicate it too much. We have a very nice altar here, Prabhupada Mataji are worshipping, very simple. This is how we must worship at home. Whatever we do it along with the deity, which in the sense that when we're getting up, wake up the deities, do Mangal Aarti. Then whatever, we are all eating food, whatever we want to eat, offer them to Krishna, then we honor it. So that's how we purify our existence, regulate our life, keeping Krishna in the center for life. So if you do this, then of course chanting is most important. So actually our chanting is solidified the more we are doing better deity worship. The better deity worship we do, the more our chanting is solidified. Because we are kind of fixed, Krishna fixes us. That you have spent this time for me, I'll give you some peace of mind to chant your rounds nicely. Then we study scriptures. If we don't study scriptures and hear from the scriptures, our practice of devotional service may become sentimental. Sometimes you are very enthusiastic, sometimes you're not so enthusiastic. Again, it kind of goes up and down. But the more we are with Srila Prabhupada's books, the more we are fixed, and our level of devotional service remains, consistent and stable. So these are all the different ways Prabhupada has given us, and anybody can do it in any place in this world. There is no restriction. Nobody is going to stop us from performing deity worship at home. Nobody is going to pluck out your tongue for chanting the holy names. Again, all of us are eating food, we offer to Krishna and eat. These are things which we can do anywhere, in any circumstances. Some degree of, just a degree will be, according to time, place, we have to adjust here and there a little bit, but the principles and the application remain the same. So these are all practical ways by which we can actually live a life of Krishna consciousness. So these verses, essentially what Krishna is saying, is explaining the qualities of. Now we don't have direct experience of spiritual matters because we are in the material body for God knows how many births. We are continuously taking millions of births. So we are so used to this material atmosphere that we don't understand the spiritual atmosphere at all. That's why Krishna is explaining to us in these verses what the nature of spirit is, what the nature of matter is. So instead of telling directly that this is the nature of matter or spirit, he's telling us in a negative way that this is not the nature of. In other words, the spirit is not like this. The spirit is not like this. Because not like this means that is something we are used to. Right? For example, Krishna is saying that the soul cannot be cut. Because we have experience of material things being cut, or burnt, or moistened, or dried. We have experience of all of these things, the material world, right? We know anything material, like for example, any book that you take or anything that you take will dry after a while. If you put in the water, it becomes moistened. And I can tear up the pages, I can cut the pages. So these are all things which you experience day in and day out. But Krishna is saying that the spirit is not like this. You cannot cut the spirit soul. You cannot dry the spirit soul. You cannot moisten the spirit soul. Why? Because it is not material. Anything material will go through all of these transformations. But the spirit does not go through any change. Why? Because the dimension of spirit soul is given in the scriptures. It is said that if you take the tip of your hair and then break it into 10,000 pieces, parts, then each such part is actually the dimension of the soul. It's no way that any material apparatus can actually measure that. It's only the scriptures are telling us. That is the dimension of the soul. So, such a minute particle we cannot see with our material vision. And how can we understand? Because whatever we see is what we believe. Whatever we perceive is what we believe. But whatever we cannot perceive or what we cannot see, how can we understand existence? So only by receiving this knowledge from spiritual sources, scriptures, can we have some understanding of what spirit is versus what matter is. So on all of these verses, if you notice carefully, Krishna is explaining the different attributes and different qualities. In the context of the battlefield where Arjuna is saying that I cannot fight. So in that context, Arjuna is saying that I cannot fight these people because they are related to me through the body. Krishna is saying that first of all you understand that you are not his body. Neither are they the bodies, neither are you the bodies. And a soul can never be killed because a soul never takes birth in the first place. Whatever takes birth only can die. If something has no birth, how can it die? Because the soul is eternally existing. Just like Krishna is eternally existing, we as parts and parcels of Krishna are also eternally existing. But one very important distinction Prabhupada or Krishna makes here, that unlike the impersonalist philosophy or the Mayavadi philosophy which says that after this body is gone, the soul merges with the super soul and everything becomes one. But that philosophy is not correct because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Mamshu Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that we are all amshas or parts and parcels of Krishna and we are eternally the parts and parcels. If you are eternally the parts and parcels, how can the part become one with the whole? It can never become one with the whole. It will always remain a part, which means the soul remains an individual soul eternally. Eternally the soul remains an individual soul. That's why all of us have individuality. And then Krishna goes on to say that, just like we change our bodies, dresses, every day we change our dress. Similarly, the soul also changes bodies at the time of death. It takes on another body. And we can have anything among the 8.4 million species of life. And this calculation is given in the scriptures. Padma Purana gives exactly how does it add up to 8.4 million? That so many species are there in the aquatics, so many are in the insects, so many in the reptile kingdom, so many in the plants and trees, and so many animals and beasts, and so many human species. So there are 400,000 human species. And this current body that we have is one among the 400,000 species. Because in the upper planetary systems like Devatas, demigods, that's also considered under the human species. They are also like humans, one among the human species. So we can have anything among the 400,000. But more importantly, the probability of getting a human body, if you do a math, it's only about 5%. 400,000 out of the 8.4 million. So roughly 5% chance. So such low probability. So we should be very fortunate that now we have got this human body. So let us utilize it in such a way that we can get out of this process of birth and death. Otherwise, we'll again get into the cycle of 8.4 million species. That is what Krishna is trying to explain here. That if you don't do your duties in the human body, then you are assured to take birth again, but we don't know what species will take birth. That is dependent on our activities that we do in this body. Karma will decide what birth we are going to take. But the moment we do karma that is aligned with Krishna, or that is spiritual nature, then we come out of the cycle of birth and death. That is the essential teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. So maybe I'll pause here and if there are any comments or any realizations or questions. Anything to add? Yeah.
Earlier you said if we follow this way of everything that goes wrong, sufferings we have in our lives, and good things happen with us is what Krishna is then we inherit the
Kingdom of
kingdom
God.
of God, like child and so my question is, how can we inherit the kingdom of God? Because the Godhead kingdom always belongs to Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord. So how is it possible for us to
So what it means by inheriting kingdom of God, it means we'll go back to God. That's what it means. See, a child going back to the father means that the child is actually getting the property of the father. It's like that. So what it means is that he goes back to his original home, to the spiritual world. So that is what is the meaning of inheriting.
Just mentioned, right, about the deities worship. procedure and processes has been defined that you have to 4 times, 3 times,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So how will we, when we talk to some like brahmanas, like in our normal day-to-day, right? If you go to temple, there is a process, we cannot do this, we cannot do this. But here, like you were saying that okay, at home we can do there's no time and circumstances. Can you please elaborate on that?
What I meant is, Prabhu, there is a process we have to follow, but it's not as strict as it is in a temple worship. In a temple, there are 7 or 8 aartis happening in a day. We cannot afford to do that at home. At home, we have to simplify. So home, the most important thing is Mangal Aarti in the morning. That is the first aarti. You get up, because 4:30, usually in ISKCON temples or many devotees, they do at 4:30 in the morning, or it can be done according to your, the way, I mean, a little bit adjusted to, but idea is to do it in the Brahma Muhurt time, which is 4 to 6. Before the sunrise, you must wake up the Lord, and do a simple aarti. It should not take more than 15-20 minutes. Normally it doesn't take more than 15 minutes. Of course, waking time is a little bit before that. You wake up, and then prepare them for the aarti. Of course, you have to get up and take bath first. That is the first thing. And then you wake up the deities and then perform the aarti. Then after that, you chant your rounds in the morning. So by 6 o'clock, let's say you finish your Mangal Aarti, then 6 to 7:30 you do the chanting. Because morning time usually you're all free, right? Most of us are free. There's no, I mean, there might be some circumstances here and there where we have some work, but most of the time we are free during 4 to 6 or 6 to 7 maybe. The work starts only after 7:30 in the morning. So whatever time we can spare, we should do the Mangal Aarti, do the chanting, and then afternoon, when you're cooking breakfast or lunch, at that time you offer to Krishna whatever you're making, whatever you're cooking, offer. Then that time you don't need to do aarti, right? You're just offering, and then offer the bhoga, and then honor prasadam. Then you put the Lord to rest during afternoon time. Close the altar. Then evening time, just like we did now, open the altar, do a simple offering, whatever you're eating, you're preparing something, or if you're not preparing, then offer some fruits or nuts, something, and then do a simple aarti, and then put the Lord to rest again. So this is a very simple thing. You see, all of this whole thing doesn't take more than 1 hour, morning to evening. Right? So that's what I meant by simplifying the process of devotion. See, it should not become a burden to us. Devotional service should not become a burden. We should not think that, oh, now I have to do this, I have to do that. So whatever works best for you, just adjust your activity in such a way that you can very comfortably add Krishna into your life. And Krishna also is very, very reciprocative. He knows our situation. According to the situation, as long as we are putting our sincere efforts, even though we are struggling, even if we are struggling, but as long as we are putting our sincere efforts, Krishna will definitely reciprocate. And this is the experience of all of us. As I said earlier, we are struggling. All of us are struggling. But somehow or the other, we remember the instruction of a spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and somehow or the other, unwillingly or willingly, we are trying to perform something. Krishna will definitely reciprocate. And that reciprocation is what keeps us going, gives us the encouragement, inspiration to continue. And when we see other devotees following, then we think we can also follow. Why not? We can also follow. So that's how we engage and encourage each other. And that's why we have a program in the temple every week, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, like we are meeting here Saturday, Sunday. We have Saturday, Sunday program in the center. I'm sure some of you have come to the center. I have seen for the festivals or usual program Saturday, Sundays. So when we come, that's how we encourage each other, take association of each other, and inquire from each other wherever we have challenges, we inquire, find out how they are doing. We do the same thing. So according to our time, place, and circumstances.
You said that we are the part and parcel of Krishna, we are the job. So like once we go to the spiritual planet, could you please elaborate what happens there? We are the part
Maybe after we
and
go, we will know. And many times devotees used to ask Prabhupada, how will it be in the spiritual world? Prabhupada said, just go and find out. Yeah, but the point is, Prabhupada explains that we all have our relationship with Krishna in one of the four flavors, right? Either it is Sakhya ras, Madhurya ras, Vatsalya ras, or Dasya ras. When one of these four, not Shantaras, Shantaras is usually not for devotees, it is for those who are not yet come to the platform devotional service. So one of these four mellows we have, but we don't know what our relationship is with. But as we gradually progress in our devotional service, Prabhupada says that Krishna will reveal what your relationship is. And then when you go back, that is what you're situated in that particular vessel. So that's what we can say. Okay, I think so.
Anyone having any questions? Want to share any realizations? It's a kind of open program. You can ask anything.
Questions. Like things like you should not grieve for the body. It's a bit theoretical.
Yes,
In a
it
way,
is.
academic. Say like, how can we not grieve for
No, no, very good.
clothes,
Absolutely.
beloved?
Absolutely. You're right, Mother. They're not like stone. Huh? So although we are practicing devotional service, it doesn't mean that if somebody passes away in a family, they have absolutely no reaction. No, that's not what it means. What it means is that we don't unnecessarily lament. You understand? Unnecessarily lament. Many times what happens is that when a near or dear loved, I've seen myself, like my wife, her father left 8 years ago, and she was very attached to her father. And I always had this fear that what will happen, because we know that at some point of time, either we will pass on or they will pass on before us. So how she will be able to handle this? But because of devotion, because of performing some devotional service, Krishna gave her the strength to tolerate when her father left. She was naturally in lamentation, but very quickly she was able to recover from that. It's not that for long, lengthy period of time she was in lamentation. So that is the benefit of performing devotional service, that Krishna will immediately situate us in the knowledge, in the understanding that this bodily relationships are temporary. Yes, you have loved one has passed on, but the only thing, Mataji, you can do to revive the relationship with the person who has left is on the basis of Krishna consciousness. Only Krishna can keep us connected to that soul who has left. By chanting Krishna's names, by remembering Krishna, Krishna will ensure that whatever devotional service we have done benefits the devotee who has, benefits the person who has left. So for us, there is, beyond a point, there is no question of moroseness or sentiment, because we know that the person has gone to a better destination. Why? Because we have done whatever we can do to help the soul to remember Krishna at the time of day. So that's how we take courage, and we don't unnecessarily lament. But yes, naturally there is a feeling of remorse and regret when a loved one passes away. But we don't just remain on that level forever. That's what it means. Thank you.
Actually, at this point, I just wanted to share that there is a beautiful verse in the Gita, and the translation says, "There's nothing to be lamented when matter is beyond the control of it." So that actually gave me solace. So when we have a Bhagavad Gita, we read Bhagavad Gita. So at the point of distress, yes, we are sad, that dad has passed away. But we remember that we can't do anything about it. The person who has passed away has passed away. What we can do is for their soul. So we can chant, we can read verses from Bhagavad Gita. 8th chapter, that way is very helpful when someone passes away. So we chant, we remember Krishna. We can come together, family members can come together, recite beautiful verses. We can chant Kirtan, and the soul which is passing will also feel solace, because yes, that 14 days the soul is moving on. It is not trouble. Soul does not feel the trouble. It feels, because of our chanting and all these activities which we perform, the soul also feels peaceful. Thank you.
What is the next pointer?
So we have time till 7. So Radhika will be. So let's thank Prabhuji for sharing the realization by loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Krishna.